I remember the afternoon like it was yesterday. Golden sunlight pouring through the living room windows, dust motes dancing in the air, and the faint aroma of cinnamon from the muffins I'd baked earlier in the morning. My name is Lisa Morgan. I'm a 45-year-old mom who had just experienced a life-changing moment. Not because of something dramatic, but because of a simple, quiet realization that family, however it's formed, holds power to connect and heal. It all began when I asked my stepson, Ethan, for help. Ethan was my husband Jack's child from his previous marriage. A smart, sensitive 16-year-old boy with chestnut hair and hazel eyes. I'd watched him grow up since he was 10, from a shy elementary school kid into a thoughtful teenager. Through the years, our relationship had grown too. Warm smiles in passing, shared jokes over breakfast, deeper conversations late at night about everything from world politics to the latest sci-fi movie. But something changed that afternoon. Jack was away at a business conference for a week, and I'd been juggling work, errands, and dinner prep like always. But that day I felt tired, emotionally and physically. I'd taken on too many responsibilities. During a rare quiet moment, I realized I couldn't keep doing everything alone. I needed help. "Ethan," I said softly as he came downstairs from his room. He was wearing worn jeans and a band t-shirt. His usual comfortable gear. He looked up from his phone, greenish screen reflecting in his eyes. "Can I ask you for a favor?" He nodded, curiosity flickering in his face. "I need help with something." My voice quavered a little. "Could you come with me to the community center this afternoon? They need volunteers to help pack food baskets for families in need." Ethan blinked, then exhaled. "Sure, Mom. Sounds good." He grabbed a hoodie and followed me out the door. I couldn't tell him how much it meant to me. A simple yes from my stepson, an acknowledgement of our growing connection. We drove 5 minutes to the community center, small talk drifting between us. He told me about a new math test coming up. I asked about his debate team. He said he did okay. Inside, the oily scent of canned beans and packaged pasta hung in the large gym. Folding tables were set in rows, each one draped with a plastic sheet, already half covered with labels and baskets. Volunteers, mostly retirees and a few families, stood quietly, gloves on, waiting for instructions. A coordinator, Mrs. Hernandez, saw me and waved. She was a tall, sturdy woman in her 50s, wearing a red apron. She greeted me with a warm, motherly smile. Then she looked at Ethan. "You must be her son," she asked gently. "Welcome, Ethan. Grab gloves and we'll get you started." He smiled politely, grateful she used his name. We found our station. Beans, rice, canned corn, pasta, cereal, and personal care items. The first few baskets were slow. We carefully measured servings, checked expiration dates, taped boxes shut. But after 10 minutes, the rhythm set in. Pack beans. Fold box. Fill. Label. Pack cereal. Fill. Label. On and on. We worked side by side and slowly details emerged. His smooth rhythm stacking boxes, the way he paused to ask, "Is this enough pasta?" before continuing like he wanted to do it right. I handed him scissors or tape or boxes when he needed. We developed an unspoken cooperation. A woman named Sharon, a kind older volunteer, leaned over from the next table and said quietly, "Your stepson's real good at this. He's efficient and careful." I felt a swell of pride. Pride not just as a mother, but as someone learning to step back and let him take charge. As we worked, conversation flowed naturally. He told me about the shift in his academic confidence, how joining the debate club had pushed him to speak out, to risk being wrong. He said he used to fear speaking up in class but lately raised his hand more. "I don't know, something clicked," he said softly. We laughed together when a box ripped and beans spilled everywhere. He bent down to sweep them into a dustpan, and I knelt beside him. He teased, "Mom, did you plan this so you didn't have to mop?" I responded with mock outrage. "I'm not above sweeping." We giggled and a few other volunteers looked over with affectionate smiles, happy to witness the bond between us. After an hour, we paused with water bottles in hand. Ethan's shirt was damp with sweat. Underneath he looked content, alive. I looked at him and felt gratitude. To him, to this moment, to the day I mustered the courage to say I needed help. We sat on a bench by a near-empty stack of cardboard boxes and shared water, panting. Kids who might have received the food wandered through with their parents, picking up baskets. One little girl with pigtails waved at me, and I waved back. She smiled shyly at Ethan, who smiled back. I squeezed his shoulder. When Jack returned that evening, I told him what happened. He listened, his brow softening. "I'm proud of him," he said. "You asking him for help. Looking at him as a partner instead of a kid. You gave him respect, and he gave it back." We talked late into the night about blending a family, about balance, about trust. Jack told me he saw a change in Ethan too. Not dramatically, but like a small blossom in his confidence. Ethan came down the following morning, sleepy-eyed, to have breakfast with us. He looked at us, almost daring to speak, then said, "Thanks for asking me to volunteer yesterday." He swallowed. I liked it. Our mornings shifted. After that day, asking for help became a habit, a ritual. Sarah, my friend at the PTA, I asked for help proofreading flyers. Jack, I asked to try a new recipe. Ethan, I'd asked to check my business finances. Each time I stepped back so they could step up. And each time I noticed a spark, something deepening in our family. 2 weeks later, there was a charity run at the park to raise money for the food bank. My business, an at-home graphic design company, had been invited to design the event posters and t-shirts as a community partnership. I'd accepted, excited to help. We set up a table near the finish line with water and medals. I'd brought Ethan along to help with handing out bottles and medals. Runners streamed in. Families in matching shirts, friends with earbuds in, kids holding balloons. There was laughter, exhaustion, cheering. The announcer called out each participant as they finished. I stood with medals in hand. Ethan did too. Each time he placed a medal around a neck, he'd say, "Great job," with genuine warmth. At one point, a man in his 80s finishing his first ever 5K hobbled over. Ethan leaned in to offer him a medal. The man's eyes were full, tears in the corners. "Thank you, son," he rasped. He doubled over. Another volunteer rushed over with water. Ethan patted his back gently. I watched and felt tears on my cheeks. It struck me. My stepson's empathy, his kindness, all were blooming in a new way, given room to grow. Later that evening, I peeked into Ethan's room and found him writing in his journal, something he rarely changed from. I paused at the doorway, curious. On the open page, lines flowed across. "Didn't expect today, but felt good. Mom trusted me to help. Like I mattered more than a kid. Like I mattered." I tapped softly on the doorframe. He looked up, startled. I just smiled, and he closed his journal. "Just wanted to say you did great today," I said. He managed a small grin.